Okay, hello again, everyone. Thank you for joining us this Sunday evening in the States and Monday morning over in Asia. Appreciate you all being here. And we are going to be having David Morgan, the Silver Guru, and Ivan Bayouki. I will ask him how to pronounce his last name. I hope I don't mess it up too bad. They're on standby, ready to go. And appreciate you all being here. Quick roll call. Grow Mechanic, how you doing? Supply looking like for us, supply looks okay right now. Still, we just had a big batch of 1,000 ounce LBMA bars that came in, but I do have to say, smaller things, especially 1 ounce coins, they are getting a bit harder to get. Supply still a little bit tight with those. Tony, how you doing? Mutant Ref, Woodbridge, how you doing? Um, let's see. Questions. What are the first locations planned for the billboards? We'll ask. We will ask Ivan that question as well. Let's see. Yeah, we were happy to contribute. I mean, we absolutely believe in the cause, 100%. So we're glad that we had a chance to participate. David Begley, aloha. How are you doing? Beta One, how are you doing? Yeah, supply in Singapore is it's still okay, but as mentioned, the smaller coins are getting a bit rough. And okay, so we'll be getting started shortly. Again, appreciate you guys being here. Will Hong, first time I've seen you. Welcome aboard. If you are new, go ahead and type in new and where you're from, and we'll see if we can acknowledge you. So, good morning from Hong Kong. How you doing, Will? Chris Primer, Broward Person, Florida. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. And James Richter, how you doing, buddy? Okay, so we get started in about 10 more seconds or so. Again, David Morgan and Ivan Bayouki are here. I will ask him how to pronounce that nice rolling last name. I'll see you guys in a bit. So hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vera, and today's a different type of a live stream. We're going to be doing things a bit different, where we have David Morgan and Ivan Bayouki, as mentioned, who are going to be joining us. And for that reason, our ebook giveaway that we normally play every week, we're going to be giving away David Morgan's ebook, The Silver Manifesto, a detailed examination of an incredibly underappreciated asset class, being precious metals, notably silver. And the book takes an in depth look at all aspects of the silver market, including but not confined to the monetary aspect of silver, peak silver, phases of inflation, fractional reserve banking, and building a precious metals portfolio. Much, much more in there. So we're going to be giving this away as our ebook thank you. And to get that, again, David is here. To get that, download the Kindle app from your phone or tablet's app store. It's free. Participate with questions and our comments that are nice, that are clean. I know you guys do well. Nice, clean, and good ones. And at our discretion, we're going to choose the questions and comments that we like. U.S. winners will be given a link to download the ebook. Winners outside the U.S. will be offered an alternative prize at our discretion. And you're going to have to provide us your email during this live stream. My colleague Vincent is on standby. What he will do is mute your comments, and that way you can go ahead and type in your email, and we'll be able to go ahead and get it to you. So, again, we're going to be giving away David Morgan's ebook, Silver Manifesto. So, one more time, I appreciate all of you being here, and please don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell to be notified on updates, and give us a thumbs up. We appreciate all of the thumbs ups, and you can find us on social media, silverbullion.com.sg. Silverbullion.sg is our Facebook handle. Silverbullion.com.sg, again, is our website. We do sell silver and gold, precious metals, buy and sell, but we specialize in wealth protection. That is one of the things that we do really uh, take to heart, is being able to specialize in wealth protection. A lot of you already know what's going on out there. So if you have questions, just give us an email at sales@silverbullion.com.sg. Twitter handle, silverbullion PL for private limited. Audio versions, bit.ly, bit.ly, SBTV iTunes, or SBTV Spotify. And if you do have that Telegram app, either on your desktop or your mobile phone, do search for Crisis Tracker and go ahead and join us there. This is where we go ahead and we post news as it pertains to economics, finance, gold, silver, things like that. We sift through the weeds and we find pretty much more of the important things out there for you. And before we get started with David and Ivan, let's just take one quick look at the gold price right now. So this is our website, silverbullion.com. .sg. We see silver down a bit, 24.94, down some 20 cents. Gold is down a few dollars, 17.31. Nickel still hanging around that low $16,000 per ton range. Again, nickel, this is one of the key components in electric vehicle batteries. And if you do want exposure to nickel, we are able to get you that with physical nickel investor kit. It's free to download. And taking a look at silver to gold ratio, we're at 69.4. We were just at 65 not that long ago. We're back up to 69. And again, some featured products. We got nickel here, 1,000 ounce LBMA bars. Again, this is an item that a lot of people seem to be looking for. We are well stocked, back up over 400 bars. And to get these, you'll notice you have to sign up on account, which you can do up here, sign up. And then you have 6 different ways to sign up: personal account, joint, trust account, joint account with a minor, business account, and retirement account. Those of you guys with 401ks, you've been seeing it. You've been seeing it going up. So you may want to consider talking to somebody about a precious metals IRA account. So having said all that, as mentioned, we're going to be changing things up a bit. David Morgan, the silver guru and author of Silver Manifesto, and I believe it was Second Chance, and publisher of the Morgan Report, is here to speak with us live. Ivan Bayoukhi as well from Wall Street Silver is here joining us live. So feel free to leave your questions and comments, and we may be pulling them in to let David and Ivan go ahead and answer those questions. So having said all this, thank you for your patience. David Morgan, Ivan Bayoukhi, welcome to SBTV. How are you folks doing?
Good, I'm doing good. How's everyone doing?
Looks like they're doing fine. They're pretty active already on the comment section. David, how you doing?
I'm well, thanks.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with this first question to David. You know, many of us have our eyes on what Wall Street Silver is doing and how they're doing it. What are some things that the group, in your opinion, are doing right and things that you like?
Well, I like the forum. It's free market. I like it. It's a new blood, you might say, younger people for the most part, and they're, pretty enthusiastic. Passion's there. I don't say maybe I will say slightly that I question the conviction, but from what I've seen, and I am on their site probably 3 times a week, and I do scroll down through it. Not everything, of course. A lot of it's our post of this is it. I'm taking a shot and showing what they bought or whatever, which is all very cool. What I like is that they're aware, they're open to thinking outside the box, they're learning more, they're feeding each other information. I just think it's really great. I mean, one of the things that I really wished for years ago when I made Escape the Matrix and took the red pill, blue pill scenario to blue currency, the Zimbabwe $1 trillion note and an ounce of silver, and use that metaphor of the truth. My main purpose was to, try to engage a younger audience. And, Wall Street Silver's happened, and Ivan's actually the one that started it. So thank you, Ivan.
Yeah, thank you, Ivan.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, David. I appreciate you, Patrick. And every single person watching here, I appreciate you as well.
Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate what you guys are doing as well, Ivan. It's good to see some young blood in there. Straight away, question right off the bat. Any of you guys know any truth to this? Is the Perth Mint running out of silver? We see this a lot on Wall Street Silver, their Twitter, with a lot of tweets.
I'll take that first. I'm sorry if I interrupted you, Patrick.
Sure.
So I just got a tweet from John Adams, who's definitely leading the charge there. And I'm just reading straight off his tweet. I'm not going to validate it. I'll make a comment after I read it. It's Monday morning in Australia, and I'm hearing that a stampede is underway. Scores of customers with synthetic products will be contacting the Perth Mint to demand physical silver. However, they cannot deliver. Their credibility is in tatters. So, there's 2 sides to every coin, 2 sides to every story. I mean, I did an interview with John. I really like him. He's very passionate. But, I tweeted both sides of the story very recently. There's one John is saying, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying read the contract, which I also posted on my Twitter feed of what it says, and make your own decision based on that. I think that's all I really want to say, because a lot of these contracts are quite detailed. And some of them have a lot of legal twists and turns. Some are more straightforward, but anyone that looks at it and can read really can figure out what it's saying. So they're not in a force majeure position. They're not saying, I won't speak for them. I think I'll leave it there. I, would just say that we all on, let me reframe that. I was going to say all and speak for everyone, but many of us in the community have stressed physical silver. Some have decided to do allocated or pool accounts for a variety of reasons. There is the ability in most cases to go from an allocated or pool account into physical. What the exact terms are varies from entity to entity. What it might say at Kitco would be different than what it says at the Perth Mint, etc. So read what it says in the contract and make the decision.
All right. I haven't had anything to add to that, or has David pretty much covered it?
Yeah, David did a perfect explanation. I truly believe, and I'm seeing this on Wall Street Silver, that a lot of people that have unallocated accounts are starting to demand allocated silver. And you're starting to see that with every single mint and every single customer. So I think people are starting to wake up and see that is my silver and actually in an unallocated account. So yeah, there's an awakening happening for sure, Patrick.
Okay, Vincent, if we can we contact GJPCMD1, and we'll go ahead and get his email, GJPCMD1. So that was a great comment straight away. Appreciate that. Ivan, next question for you. You ran a GoFundMe campaign, or you still are actually, and you beat your $100,000 goal in just a matter of a few days. Incredible stuff, my man. Can you update us on the progress of the billboards and Lamar Agency? Why did you choose Lamar Agency?
So there's going to be many agencies more than just Lamar. Lamar, I have a meeting on Monday to discuss locations just in United States. Then we also have different agencies in Canada that we're talking to do in Alberta, BC, Ontario, and then sooner and later, we're going to do different campaigns that will go worldwide. But we're doing everything from Instagram advertising, we're doing Facebook, Twitter advertising, even everything we're planning out right now. So it's going to be really, really exciting. But for the billboards, Monday is the date that we're going to discuss locations, and we'll be posting it on the Wall Street Silver Reddit. So we're pretty excited.
Okay, great. One more question following up there. Uh, you know, sorry, David, this is for you. As the billboards and social media work to get the word out, both traditional media and new types of media, um, this is starting to take on a whole life of its own, and more people are starting to wake up and want to buy silver. David, do you see a tipping point where there just might not be enough silver to go around for investors and also for corporations moving to renewable energies?
Yeah, I do. I mean, when exactly, very tough to call. But once you see what we've already witnessed, the fact is that even the silver market, when I say the silver market, I mean the commercial bar market that has a premium on those bars that you've really never seen in the past. That is indications of tightness in the market. With more people putting more demand on the silver market, primarily from the retail side, some of those 1,000 ounce bars, or many of them, will have to be converted into 100-ounce bars, 10-ounce bars, 1-ounce wafers, government minted coins, privately minted medallions, and all that stuff. So, this is where I kind of stress the conviction. If you're working with a dealer that has a great reputation and he tells you, he's 4 weeks out or whatever, hang in there, lock in your price and hang in there. I mean, Patrick, why don't you give us an indication on, let's say, a specific product? Let's say you want the Australian kangaroo. I watched a video, I think over the weekend, that said that you couldn't get the kangaroo from the Perth Mint, but you could still get the koala. So I just called up and said, hey, I'm pretty well healed. I got a big cash settlement here. I've got $500,000. I want it all into silver kangaroos. What would you say to me?
I would say if you can get it, you're gonna wait. There's the backlog is pretty long right now. I To be honest, I'd really have to check with our director in purchasing on that. But I do know that Perthman items they seem to silver anyway. They seem to be a bit stressed right now. Along with even UK Royal Mint products, they're having longer and longer delays. So I would say if you're willing to wait, go ahead. But for us, we really will not offer the product unless we have a definite date or we know for sure that we can get it in. So if we have something on our website where it's just blank, where we don't have a date, such as 2 weeks out or 4 weeks out, then it means that we really have no definite date that we can confirm. So yeah, there is a bit of I guess, an issue going on with it. So it's a great question.
And I want to add just a little bit more because he also had sort of the second part to the question, which was, what would happen on the industrial, the commercial side? And the answer is I do think it would affect it, but it'd probably be the last. And the reason is this: most of your silver users, pick names, you can pick any, you can use Apple, that's a familiar one, or Tesla, but you could use Dow Chemical, DuPont, Mitsubishi, Tiffany's. There's a lot out there that use silver for their products. Most of them, and almost all of them, have a direct relationship with the refiner. So they don't pick it off the COMEX. The only reason that a silver user would go into the COMEX and buy commercial bars would be because they can't get it anywhere else. Can that happen? Yes. Will that happen? It could. I do, and to answer the question is, I think it will, and not necessarily, be a higher demand on the COMEX, although it could. I think what would happen would be some allocation program. I hate to use that word twice, but where the refiner determines either by previous relationship that the silver user gets the bars first to meet their demand for inventory purposes to continue in business, and or let the free market work where those willing to pay a higher price to, let's say, turn it into a retail product for those following Wall Street silver get the silver first. But we could see that. I'm not going to say we absolutely will see that, but I think we will see it. And the reason I say that is because silver doesn't care what the demand is. Demand is demand, but it is monetary demand that will take it higher because there's more than enough silver to take care of the industrial side if that was the only demand. But the industrial side is just basically electronics. There's other things, but basically it's electronics. There's also jewelry demand and silverware demand, which isn't really considered part of the industrial demand the way the two silver studies break it out. CPM Group and the World Silver Survey basically make four categories. They make industrial demand, which is, again, mostly electronics. Then they break out the jewelry category. Then they break out a silverware category. And then they break out an investment category. So they really break the pie into four pieces. You could give it two. You could say that silver jewelry and silverware, along with electronics, is industrial demand. But that's not how they break it out.
Okay, let me get back to Ivan here. Are you still working with the GoFundMe group to set up withdrawals where there will be a ledger provided on Wall Street Silver Reddit community for every dime spent? I know you touched on that a bit. And will the billboards only be in North America or spread out throughout the world?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there will be a ledger provided on Wall Street Silver Reddit community on the information section. We're probably going to even make it its own tab so everyone can see every single dime spent. So there's full transparency. And no, yeah, it's not just going to be North America. This will be worldwide. First step is just going to be North America, and then we will go eventually worldwide and just everywhere from Europe, we'll go Asia. So we have a lot of faith in the community, and you're starting to see a lot of people post from different places like Russia. You're starting to see people post from even Singapore. So it's pretty
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Any billboards coming our way here in Singapore or any type of
Oh,
advertisement?
100%. If there's a good, decent price for for a set of time, we will do it.
All right, maybe we'll have to help you all look for a place here. Um,
Nice.
Another question, Ivan. Are your supporters genuinely interested in silver, interested in sticking it to Wall Street and the banks, or are they acting out in some form of protest, maybe frustrated with the future that they see?
All the above and
All the
more.
above.
Yeah, because you're starting to see a true awakening. It's not just see, Wall Street Silver is more than just silver. It's a community of due diligence. You're starting to see more post entertainment, but yeah, everything that you touched on right there is people are fed up. They're fed up with the system. You're starting to see slowly the implosion of all the fiat currencies like the US dollar and every single dollar. So it is getting very, very interesting. And I know probably 20, 30, 40 years you've seen something similar, but now it's starting to feel really real. So that's incredible.
Yeah, it feels a bit different this time. David, for you, does it feel a bit different this time, or kind of we've seen this before, kind of a thing?
Oh no, it's re-energized. I mean, when one of my members sent me an email, so I guess you know all about what's going on with the GameStop, and oh, geez, now what? So I had to pause what I was doing and look up GameStop to see what was happening, and then of course we know the rest of the story from there. And Ivan brought the Wall Street Silver over, so yeah, it's got a whole new market and a whole new awareness. And once the billboards get out there and you start seeing these Twitter ads and Facebook ads and
Yeah.
you know the millennials start using their social medias, which is just, pervasive throughout the globe, I think you're going to put a lot of pressure on the silver market. And I'll just, I can talk, but look, the previous question, Ivan, all the above. And, I've been fed up with the bankers since I learned how it worked, which is quite early in my ripe old age, many, many, many years ago. And now, one of the, I think, greatest services anyone can do is to tell the truth and to give the truth out to that generation and for them to get justifiably angry. I think there's justifiable anger. And my generation's partly is partly, I would say totally responsible, but greatly responsible. And I know I'm going on and on, but I just want to make one more point. When I was in college, I went through this end of the 60s, and we had this idealism about making things right, pretty much what the Wall Street Silver people are doing now. We were going to make it right. We were going to no wars. We were going to not trust the man. We were going to do all this stuff. And I don't know what happened because I was kind of on that path and have sort of stayed on it. But almost everybody I went to school with got off on another road and got into, how many cars and how many houses and, what clothes I have and what watches I buy and all that stuff. So, I don't know. I mean, we started off with great idealism about changing the future for the better for everyone. And somewhere down the road, we lost it. So I'll give it back to you.
Yeah, I hear you.
If
David, factoring in what you know about the way silver markets and supply and demand of silver equities markets, the economy, dynamics of what goes on at COMEX, when you see Ivan and Wall Street Silver, in your mind, what would be the definition of victory or success for you as someone who knows silver?
I would call it an indirect default. I mean, the COMEX legally can't default because they can print paper and send you a check and say that we settled. So by contract that you signed, whether you're an individual trader, a trading fund, or even a commercial bank, you can basically say that COMEX can't fail legally. But if they do that, obviously to anyone that can think knows that's a default. The other one would be what we're verifying now is the Perth Mint having enough issues where they might default? And I don't want to pick on them too much. So there's other ones out there. Or is it a backlog problem? And I'm willing to give all of them the benefit of the doubt at this point in time and say that's a backlog problem, that it isn't a silver issue yet. So it's when you get more and more, let's say someone big yells force majeure, which is a French word for, an act of God, act of nature. And, we can't get the silver because all mining has stopped due to the illness round 5. And so since there's no more mining, we can't fulfill our obligations to act of nature. We're done. That would be one. And that's a pretty extreme example, but I'm trying to answer the question with full intent so that you get it. But there'll be a lot of subtle ones that will start, and we have to watch to be sure. But we don't really want to point the finger, jump up and down, and start screaming, that's it, that's it, that's it, until we really know. And one alone doesn't necessarily mean that it's done. So in that instance, I'd want to see 3 or 4, pretty good size ones, dealers I'm talking about. That would be vindication in my view. So it's a little tough call. It's not a black and white. Once this line is crossed by one entity, that's it for sure, absolute. Now, it's much more subtle than that, but there are things to look for.
Okay, Ivan, same question for you. Likewise, how would Wall Street Silver define success with what you are doing? Is there anything that would cause the group to, worst case scenario, pack it up and say we gave it our best shot, but we just couldn't cross the goal line?
Yeah, no, we will never give up. That's that's important. We will the main success is millions of people awakened. Actually, billions of people start buying silver. That's the first goal that should be done. And then millions of more people that are joining our Wall Street Silver community on Reddit. That's another goal. But no, we will never pack it up and say done. And just to add to David's answer before, when he said he was on the path and then everyone else in college probably moved off, it's probably because the Roman circus, there's so many things distracting you in today's day. And then you have to see that light, and now we will wake people up whether they like it or not. So that's important.
Okay, you got another question in here. Let me go ahead and throw it in. Um, David, have we reached peak silver? Are miners finding deposits to meet demand? And your take on the gold to silver ratio?
Okay, I'll do the first one, the last question. Gold silver ratio is going to favor silver. It has already, from that peak that we saw of 125 to 1 roughly a year ago, March 2020. I think at the peak value, you're going to see a ratio somewhere around 16 to 1 or maybe 10 to 1. I can't know for sure, but that's what we saw in the last big move in 1980. So that's the gold silver ratio. I see it still favoring silver. Silver went from 125 to roughly half, 66. It's been as low as 33 during this bull market. The bull market's not over. The best is yet to come. And remind me real quickly, Patrick, what was the first part of the question?
Let me throw this back up there again. Let's see. Have we reached peak silver? Are miners
right.
finding deposits to meet demand?
I'm almost certain we've reached peak gold. Peak silver is a little tougher. I am aware of about 3 deposits that are mammoth, but mines take a long time to develop. So there could be a gap where it looks like peak silver, but these, in a couple cases, billion-ounce silver mines come on, stream, and then you don't hit peak silver. Sort of like what happened in the oil industry. You hit peak oil on conventional oil, then you got tight oil, the fracking primarily, tar sands, and that delayed, let's say, the peak. So I would say I don't think really I would say I do not think we have hit peak silver, but it could look like it on a chart until you go, maybe even 10 years out from now. We're close enough to call it a peak. So let me be clear there.
Wow.
I don't want to say, oh, David said we're not at peak silver, like there's all kinds of silver left. Now, what I know right now, and, another mine or another discovery could happen, next week. I don't know. But for what I know, with all the data and all the facts I have, we might have another 3 or 4 years. I want to add one more thing to that the USGS, United States Geological Survey, did say in writing that they thought that the first element that would go into extinction, which really doesn't mean extinct, but is silver. So the Geological Survey of the United States says silver is the first. They predict about 9 to 12 years, but that's based on like a $20 silver price. So if silver is at 100, uneconomic mines become economic. So you got to bear that in mind as well. But no, we're pretty close, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
Okay, great answer. Another question for you, David. Things on people's minds are things like bond yields, inflation, stimulus checks. Do you foresee inflations as coming or already here? And if here, can the Fed control it? Will the Fed have, let's just say, will the Fed have the nuts to raise interest rates?
Yeah, very good. It is here. Anyone that's a normal human out there in the working class or upper middle class or unemployed knows that inflation's real. You can look up funny stuff on the internet that proves the point, like the hamburger index or the real inflation. The way that the governments account for it is ridiculous, and they know it, but they snow everybody that wants to follow their metric. So by their metric, there's really hardly any inflation. The market does have a mind of its own, even though we really haven't seen that in a long time, because all these markets are managed or manipulated, or you can use either word. Yet at some point, there'll be enough distrust in what the U.S. is doing with the overprinting of the dollar that people that have dollars on a long-term basis, meaning like the benchmark 10-year note or 5-year or even a long bond, will want to cash them out. And I think Zero Hedge just did a great article on Japan. It was a little funny to me because I've talked about it for years, that at some point someone in the bond market might move too much too fast, and the other bond traders would see that and not know why necessarily, but see the movement, and that would scare them. What does Japan know that we don't know? And I usually use Japan as just an example. And Japan's really taken a hard look at how much treasury paper they want to hold. So I think it started. The Fed believes they are doing God's work and are all powerful. They are not, but they may try to cap it and say, we're not going to let the 10-year benchmark go above 2%. And that's a real bold statement, because if they make that statement and cannot maintain it, then you'll lose even more confidence in the market. And so my recommendation to Mr. Powell, which I doubt he watches me, would be very, very cautious with what you claim you're going to be able to do with the interest rate market.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he watches you. Everyone watches you. But
Yeah, right.
I'd be careful if it were Janet watching you, though. But Ivan, question for you. Younger people like yourself have not really been through a time of inflation. And when you hear that word inflation, how do you comprehend it, and what will you do or be doing to keep the value of the currency and its purchasing power?
That's a great question. So for sure, I'll be buying physical silver, like land. That's important. Anything that has real value. No fiat currency. That's not going to do anything. But for sure, to prepare yourself, always have something that you can hold, because you know the saying: if you don't buy it, you don't hold it, or if you don't hold it. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But with the physical silver is huge for me, and especially in the community. And for inflation, I haven't seen it because I'm 24 years old. The last time I remember is 2008, and my dad had money in the stock market, and I remember it wasn't fun. But I was a kid, but I remember it was not a nice time. It was tough for my family. Now way better, but you can start seeing bills like electricity bills get higher. You're starting to see food prices go up. You don't need anyone on the internet to tell you that. You can just see it, and you can just feel it when you're just paying these bills. So that's huge.
Yeah, okay. Got another question came in. Hello, man. Any thoughts on roll to rooter theory that silver should be 1 to 1? I know we kind of touched on the ratio a bit earlier, or higher, and gold is very plentiful. Grand Canyon, Chocolate Mountain, and this is from Jim Hooper. Anyone want to take that on?
David?
I'll start because I probably know a little bit more than Ivan does. I'll let him off. I give a long pause. Well, I've known Bix Weir for years, and this question actually came up at the Anarchapulco conference years ago, and Bix was in the audience. I haven't studied it that hard. I do have a different take on reading the same, not as deeply as Bix has. Let me not say that I've looked into it like he has. I have not. But I did read the article that he refers to in the New York Times a few times, and read it and looked at it and thought I wouldn't draw a conclusion from that. But as far as could silver get to 1-to-1 or something, the market knows more than anybody. I think Bix would admit that as well. I mean, there's, roughly from what all the data shows that I trust, doesn't mean it's correct, is the main two studies I recommend. I used to get the Haney and Harmon study before that. Johnson Matthey used to put out a paper or a summary. From what we've been told, there's been about 6 billion ounces of gold mined from the time we started keeping records. There's been 60 billion ounces of silver mined, which is 10-to-1. That's how it comes out of the ground. Not in every case. You have a gold silver mine and it's, doesn't come out 10-to-1 every place in the world, but on balance, on the aggregate, that's what the ratio is. So I have a hard time saying that there's more gold than silver, but I don't really know. I'm telling you why I think the way I think. But do I say, therefore I'm right? No, I'm not saying that. On the ratio, I could see a point where the ratio gets down, like I said, to 16-to-1 or maybe 10-to-1, as I said earlier with a different question, because the monetary demand is strong and silver is being utilized, let's say, on the blockchain for transactions, and people are loving their life because they bought silver under 30, had the conviction to wait. They bought it, at 28 or 9, let's say, and of course the actual price they paid was, let's say, 32. They were putting some of that on a hyperledger or a blockchain format so they could spend it with their phone, and that $30 silver is now 90 or 120. So their gas bill, even though it's gone up, they have more than compensated for that, or their electric bill, or whatever else. So that's part one. Part two is, as someone mentioned, and I think I glossed over it, was the big push toward green energy. There's going to be more and more demand for silver because of that push. And everyone talks about EVs, electric vehicles, and that's well and good. But just in today's regular ICE engine, there is a ton of silver used on the conventional internal combustion engine because you've got a navigator and a super stereo and all this electronics goodies that are in your car, because we're all addicted to these electronic gizmos. So there's a lot more demand in the silver market coming just from the way the society is moving, and that will not cease, in my view, for quite some time.
Okay, let me flip through these questions, make sure I got them in here. Okay, all right, moving on. Sorry about that. Question for either of you. The Fed has, in my opinion, they've lost credibility at this point, and I ask this because money cannot work without confidence. And the Fed is becoming at least two things, again, in my opinion, predictable and untruthful. How much faith do either of you have in money and in our central banks and in our government right now?
I for sure have
Yep.
no faith in fiat currencies, especially like the Canadian dollar. You can see back when I was younger, it was pretty leveled off with the US dollar. So it was pretty like 2008, a little bit earlier. But now you're starting to see the Canadian dollar die. But no, 100%, I put my faith in physical assets. Like you can see the implosion in all of these fiat currencies starting to die out. So yeah, I don't put, you can see everyone in the communities starting to lose faith of all these fiat currencies. So it's happening worldwide.
Okay, David,
Well
any
said.
any
I
trust in
would
the
say no faith in currency, total faith in money. Currency, all fiat has failed. Money, which is sound money, gold and silver, have never failed.
Okay. I got another question came in. Not sure if we did this one, but from Jim Hooper again, 65% of silver spoken for industrially or industrial. So shouldn't 1-to-1 be achievable with higher investment or monetary demand? That's a tough question. David, you want to take a shot at it?
Yeah, I mean, I can't rule it out, as I said. And I think 65 is a little bit on the high side. You may be right. I know the World Silver Survey, the one the Silver Institute publishes, has a higher industrial demand than CPM Group. I look at both of them. I study them both every year. I usually write about them in the Morgan Report, what our conclusions are. But, it could get to 0.5 to 1. I mean, we don't know for sure. What we do know is that there is what you might call an overhang in silver, meaning that it gets to a certain price. You will see some, jewelry turn into, silver bars or silverware melted down. The problem with that argument, which it exists and it could happen, is the refining capacity is actually pretty pitiful compared to what it used to be. I mean, there's been a few major refiners that are now out of business. So even if the backlog was there and demand was there, you could get to a ratio of, let's say, 1 to 1, even though the ratio above ground is sitting at, let's say, 5 to 1, because you can actually look out the window and see how much silver is out in the warehouse to be smelted down into 999 fine. So, I mean, there's a lot to it. I'm not trying to complicate the answer. The main thing is the market knows more than me. I wouldn't hold on to a belief like that. I would, and I have for years, let the market pretty much give me guidance. If it looks to me like the market's getting overbought on the silver side and everybody's brother-in-law's aunt's coming on and every other baby's being named Silver for the middle name and every third cat and dog is named, Silver, then you're probably wanting to exit some of your positions. So I'm trying to be a little bit humorous here, but you get the idea. And that if that happened at a ratio of 10 to 1, then I would start taking profits at 10 to 1. I wouldn't, again, set my sights on a certain ratio. But could it get to par? Yes.
Okay. Ivan, I mean, with all this talk about central banks, currency, money, overprinting, inflation, all these things, there is a talk about central bank digital currencies where central banks are going to move to a type of or form of digital currency. Some might say money. What's your view on this? I mean, being that I don't mean to stereotype, but being that younger generations they are very much in tune, or they do very much like digital currencies. What's your opinion on if the central bank moved to a digital currency?
Yeah, I think for sure when the Great Reset does eventually come, there will be a cryptocurrency that they will try to enforce on the people, and then it'll for sure be rejected. And then there will be a second reset that will turn into a gold and silver standard. That's my faith and belief because you're seeing now the Fed start passing a lot of laws on these cryptocurrencies. Like last month or a couple months ago, I seen a cryptocurrency called Protego that the Fed approved, and a bunch of different cryptocurrencies. India, you see banning cryptocurrency like the Bitcoin and starting to develop their own cryptocurrencies. China is starting to develop its own cryptocurrency. So there's going to be a huge push for a centralized cryptocurrency, but the people will reject. And then, yeah, that's what I truly believe.
Okay, David, your opinion on central bank digital currencies? Is it going to? Some people feel like eventually it's going to phase out cash and coin, which will start to have an impact on, say, freedoms.
Yeah, I've looked at it pretty hard. I mean, China actually has one working now. It's not pervasive. It isn't across the whole nation and everybody's using it. Government has a lot of power because they have guns. I mean, they can force you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. In fact, the late great Harry Brown had several things to say, but the first words he'd say at almost every lecture was, "Government is force." Let that sink in. So they may not fail, or they may. I agree with what Ivan said, but I'm a little on the idealistic side, even at my age. If there's enough alternatives, then obviously the power is with the people. And I think there could be enough, or there will be enough. So especially, with the Wall Street silver. I mean, if you have enough people that own physical silver, they'll just trade in silver and ignore the banks. And this is what we want. We want decentralized. We don't want centralized. But do the banks want it? You bet. And here's what they want. And I wrote about this about 6-7 months ago in the Morgan Report, based on what at the time Mark Carney from BOE, which he's no longer with the BOE, but he still exists. He said this at the United Nations. He said it at Davos, and he said it at Jackson, Wyoming. So he said it at the Fed, he said it at the World Economic Forum, and he said it at the United Nations. And he said, we want a modern money theory, in other words, unlimited currency printing, all inclusive, no backing whatsoever, that is for everybody's use. And we will be able to track, trace, and tax everyone at every point of sale everywhere. That's what they want. Oh, and cashless too. Absolutely no cash left. But again, as I've said many times, just because that's what they want doesn't mean that's what they'll get. And the resistance is strong. I mean, you've got, like London Real, join the resistance. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot more people that are truly awake than the powers that be really know. Because a lot of people just, the silent majority is called, just keep their mouths shut. They really know what's going on. And there's a lot of people that don't. But it's hard to put a damper on the truth. The truth doesn't have an agenda. The truth doesn't make it right or left. The truth just walks on majestically. And as the old expression overused but still valid, the truth will set you free. When you truly know what's going on, then you need to either align yourself with the truth, which is the highest and greatest good for yourself and everyone else, or you can ignore it. But if you ignore it, you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring it.
Okay, so moving on, we touched about we touched on Bitcoin cryptocurrencies a bit. Ray Dalio recently came on and said the government outlawing Bitcoin is a good probability, and he laid out his case. Where let me just read this for you: Bitcoin is the largest cryptocurrency in terms of market value, has proven itself as this blockchain has not been hacked and it has a large following. It is an alternative storehold of wealth. It's like a digital cash, and those are the pluses. So I think it would be very likely that you would have it under a certain set of circumstances outlawed the way gold was outlawed. And he says he doesn't know, he's not an expert, but his understanding from people is in the government where they can surveil it, who uses it, and they can track it. They can even know who's dealing with it. So I'm curious. I want to ask Ivan this question. Um, a lot of people think Bitcoin cannot be confiscated, but here we have Ray Dalio saying that he thinks the government will confiscate it. Has this ever crossed your mind? I mean, we hear about gold being confiscated as it was in the past, but Bitcoin, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think they can start outlawing the tellers like everywhere to stop accepting Bitcoin. And then that could destroy the Bitcoin value if they actually start imposing laws or bans on anyone who's accepting or trading in actual Bitcoin. But still, there's always going to be a black market for cryptocurrencies or anything like that. So even if they try to ban it, there's always going to be someone or some type of platform using it. But that's one way they can start shutting it down, is start going to all of these tellers, all of these sites, all of these places that are using Bitcoin and say, you will have this many penalties if you use Bitcoin. That could be a possibility.
Okay, it's interesting. One more question came in from a viewer. Can each of us give one physical silver product you like to stack? I'll start off by saying I like my silver eagles. David?
Oh, geez. I actually like the kilos now.
Mm,
Nice. I like
okay.
Canadian maples. I'm from Canada, so I like the Canadian maples. They
Yeah.
have a nice shine to them.
Okay. Um, I guess touching on Canada, I I think a few years back, maybe or a year back or so, Canada basically gave up its gold reserves. Is that how it went? I mean, was that what was your take on it at that time when it was something along the lines where Canada basically sold their gold or whatever it was?
Yeah, I heard about this. I don't know too much about it. I'm not an expert on it, but
Okay.
if Canada did sell all of its gold, that is a huge mistake, Canada. You are messing up big time, and you need to start stacking some silver and gold because that's brutal if that's true.
David, do you recall that one when Canada?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, the London, England did it under Brown. Mark Brown. Was it Mark? I forget. Brown was his last name. Real interesting character. And then Canada went along with it. And so, yeah, I don't know if Canada's completely out. I know, as far as I remember, the UK is completely out of state-owned gold. So, yeah, it was. In fact, it was at the bottom of the market too. It was like the cheapest price that gold had been in a very long time, and that's when they started their massive gold sales.
Right, I remember that. I'm going to play one video clip. It's about a couple minutes, and then I just want to get your opinion on it. Being that Wall Street Reddit, or excuse me, Wall Street Silver, uh, had its, I guess, a little bit of its roots coming from Wall Street bets and GameStop. So I just want to play a short clip on that, and then get each of your opinion as to where the markets are headed. So a couple minutes.
Top frenzy brought many new investors into the market.
I just start pounding away, and it's just like, okay, buy it, buy it, buy it. And it keeps going up and up and up. And so I'm getting excited.
Nearly 7 million people downloaded the 8 most popular trading apps, including Robinhood, in January. That's more than double the previous month. But this community of online investors existed before GME took off. It's been growing throughout the pandemic, and it lives on social media.
Robinhood users have been going crazy for Hertz.
Here you go. NASDAQ versus NYSE. New highs today.
That break yesterday gave you a monster winner.
YouTube channels, Reddit forums, Facebook groups, Discord chats, and TikTok influencers like Taylor Price are all talking trades.
This community is meme culture, it's Gen Z, it's millennial, and it's people who don't want to work the 9 to 5.
The reason I am able to trade full-time is solely because of the Discord group.
I got SM Energy at 214.
So who's a part of this growing community of traders seeking and sharing investment information on social media? And how are the communities helping them chase the market?
Hello, my name is Colin Chong. I'm 33 years old. I'm CEO of Omni Group Consulting, and I'm new to the investing market.
Colin Chung started trading on January 25th as hype around GameStop was spreading and the company's stock was gaining.
That morning I threw in maybe like $500, and it turned into $800.
And as the share price climbed the next day, Chung continued to invest.
I was able to somehow get like a few $1,000s in there. I wake up the next morning and it doubles. But it was at that point that I realized, it's very much like gambling.
Chung has a business background, but not an investment. So for his stock decisions, he turns to social media.
I want to talk to you guys about GameStop.
Why is GME AMC still down? Will it go back up?
All the ones that I used to use, LinkedIn, Facebook, not so much. I'm looking at very much more real-time functionality. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Is this a short squeeze?
And of course, he's watching the market.
So this is my triple monitor setup. This is primarily where I'm doing, where I'm monitoring the stock market for the specific stocks that I'm watching.
Despite the setup, Chung isn't considering making trading his career.
I look at it like I'm spending $3,000 to entertain myself to see if I can make it grow.
Okay, thanks for bearing with me. That last part what he said was pretty interesting. David, Ivan, are meme stocks the new economy? And what do you think of when you hear his last words? I'm spending $3,000 to entertain myself to see if I can make it grow. Has the Fed and governments conditioned us to never worry about losing and that they will take care of us? Ivan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty incredible that meme stocks, because you can see the power of the internet. You see people are almost, I don't want to say it, but yeah, they are. They're weaponizing social media, and everyone's gathering in certain places, and they don't care what it is. Like what you were saying earlier, if it's a rubber ball or whatever meme stock it is, they will make sure that stock goes up, and just to entertain themselves, like it's fun now. So that guy said, that was a great video. And he said just for $3,000, he just wants to entertain himself. And I think more and more people are trying to do that. They don't even care if they lose it or if they're going to make money. He said it himself. He just wants to entertain himself. So that's pretty incredible to me. But the power of the internet is huge, especially with these meme stocks. You can see them quadruple overnight. just by having 100,000 people or 50,000 people talk about one subject. So yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Hey, David, what's your take on meme stocks and how really anything put out on social media nowadays can just about drive any market out there?
Well, there's a really great book on the markets called Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. Ray Dalio mentioned it in that video you just put up a moment ago, where he said that he thought Bitcoin could be outlawed. This is a top, exact top, no, but basically in a sound economy with honest money and a vibrant physical economy, finance is about 4% of the overall picture. Right now, it's about 40%. One of the best, in my opinion, thinkers that was an alternative economist was named Elliot Janeway. I think he died in 93, but he said the next Great Depression will make the last Great Depression look like a small technical correction. And he talked about back in those days before social media, how all the markets become one large casino. And if he thought it was a casino back in those days, that was not even close to where we are now. So most people are not really prepared for what is going to take place once the dollar dies. And I do believe the dollar is dying right now, with 40% of the money supply having come on board in the last year. And one of the best books on silver that I've read, and I've read many, is called Silver, the Restless Metal by Professor Jastrom. And he says in that book, now the book is, quite old, relatively speaking, but from the study that he finished when he completed writing that book, from all of the history that he studied on money, nothing performed as well as physical silver does during a inflationary environment. So I think we're going to have stagflation. We're going to see things that we need cost more and more and more. Things that we don't need. Not everybody needs a penthouse in New York City. You might see that come down substantially. A lot of commercial property is going to come down. And I love going out to eat, but a lot of restaurants are out of business, never to come back. So we are going to see we are witnessing the reset right now. There's no doubt about it. With the Suez Canal and everything else, we can go on and on about the food supply. I won't, but I just want to warn everybody, young or old or in between, that trading for a living is much more difficult than it appears when you're in a bull market like this. And the final part of that answer is, will the Fed take care of us? And it sure looks like they've taken care of the Wall Street banksters for a very long time. But I'll try to be a little quick at the end here. Most of the software that works really, really well works until it doesn't work. There was a really famous hedge fund run by some Nobel Prize winners called Long-Term Capital Management. And they were so good that they were able to return about 20% compounded at about 4 years in a row. And there wasn't a Wall Street bank that couldn't wait to leverage the holy crap out of whatever they could to get into it. And it was all based on algorithms predicting basically human behavior, or let me call it market behavior. And market behavior is driven by humans. So I'll call it human behavior. The thing about human behavior is you can predict it perhaps 99% of the time, but you cannot predict it 100% of the time. No one can. I don't care how good the algorithm is. And that's what happened in long-term capital management. There's a PBS movie, public broadcasting system movie, called The $1 Trillion Bet. No one even used the word trillion back in those days. And that was $1 trillion bet of the largest hedge fund in the world that went down the toilet and probably would have taken the financial system along with it, which in my view might have been the best thing to happen. I don't know. But what happened? Well, of course, the Fed, the private corporation that loans money to the United States federal government, came in and rescued it, because the government, on behalf of nobody, no one approved it, basically bailed out long-term capital management, which really bailed out the banking system of Wall Street, or the investment banking system, I should say. So look, we're in a position right now where you've got to be real, act real, and buy real. And I think Ivan has stressed that, and he's got to 24 years. He's very, wise beyond his age, but most of the people I've met in that age bracket that are awake are. And why? Because they know what's happening. And you've got a tough row to hoe. Might not with this guy for 3,000 and turns it into 30,000, or he put 10 grand in Bitcoin, it's 100 grand. Good for them. I've got nothing against making profit. My point is, be careful.
Yeah, be careful. Yeah, I'm with you with what you said about Ivan. It's nice to see the younger guys who are wide awake. They're going to have to be carrying the torch for us. So we appreciate that. One last question coming in from viewers. Let's see, David. How can silver or crypto be a viable replacement or alternative to fiat? A very small portion of the population even has exposure.
Yeah, great question. My thinking on it is that the blockchain is probably the way that the reset's going to take place. It's pretty obvious, actually, at least to me. So if you have a blockchain that's gone through all the regulators and it's approved all the way through, and it's precious metals backed, it will be adopted very slowly at first. And then as people start to wake up to the crisis, more and more people will be shifting probably part of their assets into that type of a hyperledger system. And so it'll start as a trickle, and then it will start to be a bit of a stream, then it'll be a river, then it'll be an ocean. So I really believe that. Now, whether or not that happens remains to be determined, but once everyone's pretty much forced onto a digital platform, the people that are awake will start. And with the Ivans out there and social media, the way they could get the word out is like never before in the history of mankind. I mean, you could have one of these influencers that you showed on tonight's program that just says, "Hey, I'm going with this precious metals backed blockchain system," and all of a sudden, there's 100,000 signups that day. So it could get out. It could get very, very important. The other thing I like about it is that it's a world price for silver. You're not looking at a North American price, which is X, and then a European price, this is X plus 17% value added tax, or it's X in North America and you can't get it in Japan because it's just impossible, or it's 25% markup because of import duties and everything else. I'm not saying it's 25%. I've never bought in Japan, but it varies all over the place. Where if you take what I'll call the honest to God silver price, where you're looking at what physical coins and bars are average across the world, weighted properly. So if 40% of the physical market comes out in North America, 40% of the weighting is on the North American price for a maple and an eagle, and you average them all, and then 30% comes out of, let's say, Indonesia to Australia, you weight 30%. And that would be the world price of silver. And if you could buy on your phone instantly silver, and it's digitized, and you can put it to work right then and there, boy, that's convenient. And I mean, I think that's where it's going to go. The big complaint about silver or gold now, especially with a lot of the Bitcoin people, is, well, they don't call it bulky. It's just, how do you carry it? And Bitcoin, you don't. But Bitcoin is what it is. I'm not going to make a comment further, but with a digital backed crypto, you can, with a gold or silver backed crypto, you can take it off of cyberspace and put it in your pocket if you want to.
Okay, I hear you. Last super chat coming in. So guys, please hold off on the super chats. I gotta let these guys get out of here. Last one. Most of my friends' family are financially apathetic. I've been giving junk silver to their kids at birthdays, holidays, generate interest. What can be done to get more people into metals? Tipping waiters with silver, perhaps? Ivan, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, everything. You can wear like flyers, you can do posters. Tipping people with silver is absolutely huge because they'll tell 20 people about it and look into it. But you can do absolutely everything every single day. Tell 3 to 5 new people about silver and the importance of silver. You can wake up people every day. Just don't lose focus. Always stay motivated to keep on telling people and wake people up about the importance of silver, raise awareness. But yeah, bumper stickers, you could do everything, flyers, social media, Wall Street Silver. Join the movement, join the revolution.
Okay.
I'll
So
just
having
say tipping.
yeah.
I hope I haven't dominated this conversation. I love to tip in silver. I mean, I remember I usually, from the time I get out of the car, tip the bellhop or whatever. Usually I'm staying at a 5-star, not when I'm on my own, but when I'm at a speaking engagement. And I've, almost always tipped the, bellhop, the staff, the restaurant, whatever in silver. And remember one particular time I tipped the doorman going into this particular hotel. And I mean, that guy, you would have thought I gave him an ounce of gold. I mean, I gave him probably, I think, an ounce of silver. I forget, maybe half ounce. It's usually what I carry. But it does wake up a lot of people. And as Ivan said, that guy probably told not only everybody in the staff of the hotel, but probably all his friends and that kind of thing. So it's a good wake up call. And, the old adage, you give what you get. If you really want a lot of joy in the world, be more joyful. If you really want more trust in the world, be more trusting. If you really want more, truth in the world, be truthful.
Yeah,
Wow.
I hear you.
That was
I hear you.
perfectly said.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Ivan, two last questions for you. How do you pronounce your last name? And is there anything else you want to let the people know?
Yeah, my last name is Bayoukhi. It's very tough to pronounce. I know when you're spelling it out, it's tough, but you said it perfectly. So thank you, Patrick, and thank you everyone else who says it. But I want to appreciate every single person who donated to the GoFundMe. Everyone from Silver Bullion, everyone did. Miles Franklin. There's a list. There's a lot of people who did it. Kinesis Money, Silver Gold Bull, AppMex. I could go on, like even Silver Bullion. I don't know if I forgot to mention them. David Morgan even donated. So every single person who's donated, I appreciate you sincerely. And this is just the beginning. This is not. That's because the question you had for me in the very beginning was, are we just going to pack it up and go if this doesn't go anywhere? Absolutely not. This is just the beginning, and you will see some incredible things that will be written in history in the next year or next 2 years, but you'll see it.
I like it. You're giving me some chicken skin here. Ivan, appreciate it. David Morgan, final words. Anything else you'd like people to know, and how can they follow you and contact you?
TheMorganReport.com, and thank you, Ivan, and all associated. It's just brings joy to my heart because it's bigger than silver. It really is. Silver is extremely important, and it's the best way to do it. We know what it is and all that, but it's about. I think that question way back is it getting back at the man? Well, revenge isn't really a high state, but a high state is to do something that is nonviolent, free market, and help spread truth amongst everybody. And I don't think there's a better way to do it that I know of than buying physical silver and telling others about it. And that's kind of an MLK way to do it, Martin Luther King. It's nonviolent. It's not hurting anybody. It's actually helping a lot of people. And it's going to save a lot of people financially, in my strong opinion. So thank you for what you're doing. It really does make me happy.
All right, and thank you both for what each of you are doing. And I'll let you go here. I appreciate the time you've given us, and you can go ahead and clock out if you need to hit the bed. I know it's getting late there, so appreciate the two of you being here. And I just need to run through a quick list here. Jim Hooper, we need to get your email. Jim Hooper, GJPCMD1, we got yours already. Johnny Boy Silver, we need your email as well. And enjoying the decline, we need your email as well, along with Ukbay Nguyen. So Ukbay, okay. And the last one, Fantanarana. We need your email as well. So Vincent will be muting your comments, and you can go ahead and send us your email once again. Jim Hooper, Johnny Boy Silver, enjoying the decline, Ukbay Nguyen, and Fanta Larana will need to mute your comments and get your email from there. So again, David Morgan, we appreciate you being here. Ivan Bayoukhi, we appreciate you being here as well. And I'll let you folks go now. I'll hang up the call with the two of you. Appreciate you being here. And for the rest of you, again, just go ahead and you know, if you got any more questions, just let me know. If you're interested in wealth protection, things like that, go ahead and shoot us an email at sales@silverbullion.com.sg. You can follow Ivan at Wall Street SILV over on Twitter. I tell you what, it's a very entertaining group. You will enjoy it. A lot of humor, a lot of knowledge. It's a great Twitter handle to follow. Wall Street SILV. So go ahead and follow Ivan there, and David as well with at Silver Guru 22, I believe, on Twitter as well. So again, appreciate you all being here, and if you got any more questions, let us know. I'm just scrolling through some things out here. So Jim Hooper, Johnny, let me put this up here again. So if this is you, go ahead and mute your comments so Vincent can get to you, and we'll go ahead and get your email. Okay, and let me see what else is out here. Again, appreciate Ivan and David being here. I hope you folks enjoyed it. This was something different for us as well. There were a few more things, but gotta let these gentlemen have their sleep, right? I mean, they work hard, right? So we gotta let them sleep as well. Let's see, the MiG 26. How you doing? Stay strong. We're all making a difference. Fantastic discussion. Thank you, and thank Ivan. Thank David as well for that. Let's see what else is out here. Okay, yeah, it was our pleasure. Really do appreciate it. So, Vincent, can you give me the signal? The signal if we got all the emails, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. So again, let me get that up there one more time. Jim Hooper, Johnny Boy Silver, Akbe Nguyen, Fanta Naranja, enjoying the decline. Please put your email in chat if you want to receive the e-version of David's book, Silver Manifesto. We'll mute your comments, so only we will see your email. So I'll just wait for Vincent, make sure we got the emails, and then we'll be headed out from there. Ivan, you still on? You got anything else you want to add?
No, I was just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate every single one. Am I still live?
Yeah, you're still live. You're still live.
Okay, that's awesome. I appreciate every single person here. That's awesome.
Okay, and your group is Wall Street SILV, correct?
Yeah,
On
Wall
Twitter.
Street SILV on Twitter. And then when you come to Wall Street Silver on Reddit, we have all of our social media there, due diligence there if you guys want to look into posts about silver miners. And then again, I appreciate you, Patrick, for even inviting me on. I really appreciate it. I thank you a lot.
Oh, we're glad to have you, and likewise, we're very thankful that you came on. I thought this would be interesting where we had David Morgan, where he's one of the OGs, one of the
He's
original
smart.
guys. Yes, he is. Woke a lot of people up, including me. And then here you are, and you are definitely bringing in a new generation. And from an older guy, I appreciate what you're doing. It's nice to see younger guys really getting in the mix, getting in the fight, and I wish you all the best. Sincerely do wish you all the best.
Well, thank you so much, Patrick. And if you need me on again or you want to come to Wall Street Silver, then just join us because we'd love to have you on.
Okay, we'll do. So Ivan, again, we appreciate you being here, and I think that's it. So we'll be closing up. As always, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Be a blessing, not a burden. As you saw here, as you heard here, there are a lot of things coming our way that we need to take care of for ourselves, our families, our friends. We're gonna have to help people. Be a blessing, not a burden. And as always, saddle up for what's coming ahead and silver up as well. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.